So before I get into the story, we have to understand that 2020 has been one heck of a year. From the virus to the economy, killer wasps, and now bubonic plague squirrels. We just waiting for the next shoe to drop. So here's a true story. So I wake up with my wife one morning. She getting ready to work. I have to do my daily constitutionals. I need to go to the library and sit on the royal throne. So I'm sitting on the throne, I'm reading, catching up on things that happened while I was asleep. And all of a sudden, as I'm taking care of my business, it feels like someone had doused my bunghole with lighter fluid and then lit it on fire. I'm sitting there and I'm in utter pain. And I'm like, oh no. So I scream and I'm calling my wife. I'm like, baby, we got a problem here. We got a medical problem. My wife runs down the stairs. What's wrong? What's wrong? I tell her, I explain the pain I'm having just from going to the bathroom. She looks at me and she says, dumbass, you made Nashville hot chicken with ghost pepper sauce yesterday for dinner. And I look at her and I go, oh yeah. And she says, stupid. So welcome to another episode of Ask a Black Dad. This question comes from our YouTube channel. And our subscriber writes, hey Black Dad, how did you deal with your own shortcomings when becoming a dad? I felt that there are reasons for me not to have children, and part of them would have been for me not to pass on my own problems. Example, insecurities, ignorance, and low self-esteem. So I'm going to answer that question, how I dealt with my shortcomings. But first I want to address the issue of the words that were used. Ignorance. Ignorance is actually defined as a lack of knowledge as far as reading and writing. You don't pass down ignorance. You can facilitate that, but we have a tendency that we allow people to beat us over the head and tell us that we're ignorant in a negative and nasty way, and it becomes a curse or some kind of scar that we bear. So I want to tell her or him, let's get rid of that. Let's not use that. Because you're not ignorant. You may not know something, but because someone labeled you as ignorant doesn't make you ignorant. Maya Angelou had a quote and says, the real difficulty is to overcome how you think about yourself. That's the first place you have to start before you even think about having any kids. You have to love yourself. Throughout our times as we grow up, we're going to have positive people and negative people come into our lives, hopefully. Do not allow those negative people to give you their scars and their crosses for you to bear. Low self-esteem can be passed on. You can teach a child low self-esteem. You can teach a child hate, racism. You can teach a child a lack of ethics as far as working and learning. These are things that someone may have passed on to you, and you're scared of passing on to your kid. And the reason that you have to stop before you think about having kids and work on yourself is because you have to understand that these things were given to you. These things help break you. These are missing pieces that you must now get, and you must now fix yourself. Because if you love yourself, when you see that child you brought into the world, you will see the love that you gave to that child, and you won't want nothing but that child to succeed and become wonderful. Now, as far as my shortcomings, I had many shortcomings. And it all started with, again, I had to learn to love myself. I have a episode out of Who Are My Heroes? And one of them was my father-in-law, Herc Hill. He taught me, when I watched him, I saw how he loved his children, his daughters. He showed me how a dad should be. Other examples of people that I watched and I molded myself after was Dr. Huxtable from The Cosby Show. I looked at him and said, that's a father who I would want to have in my life. And the ability for me to love myself gave me the ability to take these things that I saw from different people and build them and build me up And I was able to give that to my children. It wasn't easy to fix me, but I knew I had to fix me in order to go forward with anything, any relationship. I couldn't love my wife until I loved me. If I'm miserable, all I'm going to do is be miserable with her and make her miserable. If I don't love me, all I'm going to do is look at my children and not give them the ability to learn love. See, if I give them love, they can grow from there. They can sprout and they can shine. But if I give them everything that was given to me when I was growing up, when people called me ignorant, told me I was going to jail, told me I wasn't going to be about nothing, all these negative things, showed me the hate they had, and if all I did was pass it to them, I took the scars off my back and put it on theirs. And that's not fair. We want them to grow. So before you have a child, before you raise children, raise yourself. Raise your awareness about yourself. Trust and believe in you and fix you. And when you start with that, you will have the foundation that you need to raise any child. And that first foundation brick is love. Because when that child comes out, that child is unconditionally in love with you. And if you are unable or unfit to return that to that child, you have given it its first scar. Let the child know you love it. You're behind it unconditionally. You're going to let it grow. And that child will surprise you. And then in turn, you will surprise yourself. We like to end our episodes with a quote. And our quote of the day comes from Marianne Williamson. And she says, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. What does that mean? When we show our greatness and our love, that's then passed on to other people, including our children, which allows them to shine and bring their love forward. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Follow us on all social media platforms. Send us your questions. Tell us how you would have answered this question. And remember, until I see you in 2 weeks, I love you.